Welcome back to The Night Shift, your safe space for talking about UFOs, UAPs, NHI, disclosure, and all of the other good stuff. It's an exclusive club, and you're in it. Front row for the weirdest show in the world. I've been reading the Atlas of Unidentified Flying Objects by our good friend Andy McGrillen. He is going to be joining us today. He's the host of That UFO Podcast. But before we bring him on, I just wanted to tell you guys, this book is phenomenal. And not only is it just a great read, it is so beautifully put together. When I picked it up and I just started reading it, there's a beautiful foreword that's written by Diana Pasulka. And in the intro that Andy wrote, one of the things that he mentions is being the kid who used to hang out in the library and just like thumb through books on weird stuff, the unknown, poltergeists, UFOs, the pyramids, whatever. And I was totally that kid, 110%. And I feel like a lot of you guys must also have been those kids too. So it's a real treat to have Andy on the show today. And I want to talk about some of the cases that are in this book. And we're going to get his reaction to some things that are going on in the news. There are quite a few. It's been a busy news week. Tim Galedet called out Sean Kirkpatrick publicly on camera. That was pretty spectacular. James Fox had some interesting things to say. We're going to get to all those things. Luna, Burchett, the usual cast of characters. Before we do that, shout out to everybody who's in our chat. It's great to see all of you. Christopher Cobb. I see Future Ritual, Matthew McMillan. Mr. Justin's in here. Hey, Mr. Justin. He is the head of the Doomer Friday fan club and expanded universe website, doomerfriday.com, which is, if you go to doomerfriday.com/vote, you can vote on our Doom meter. Right now we're at, let's see if, I think I have it. Yeah, I've got it right here. We're at Doom Factor 5. So as the show goes on today, if it feels particularly doomy, you can go here, you can escalate, you can vote to escalate or de-escalate the Doom meter. I'm going to go ahead and raise it. It's got a really nice little sound to it. Let's see if we can get it up to Doom Factor 6. All right, guys. Also, a huge shout out to all of our members and all of our people on Patreon, everyone who supports not only this show, The Night Shift, but Psychoactivo, That UFO Podcast, Dreamland Motel, Others from Another Mother, and all of the other podcasts that we invite on this show and that we know, and all of our creator friends in this space. If you're supporting any of these people, God bless you. Thank you for doing that. It makes it possible for us to do this, and we just can't thank you enough. So whatever you do to support your favorite creator, please continue to do so. It really means a lot. And with that out of the way,
I'll add everyone in.
How are you, my friend?
I've been here for a little while. Yeah. I'll add everyone in. Everybody say hi.
There we go. It's a full house today.
It is. I'm going to get myself off screen because I'm aware 5 is a bit of a crowd, so I'll scoot.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, that's it. No, I'm done.
I feel bad.
Ghosted.
Look what you did, Andy. Look what you did. You kicked Xander off the show.
Kick Xander off.
Brady bunched him. Totally Brady bunched him.
Oh, man.
You have to look. Yeah, you have to look down at the. I don't know which direction you have to. Andy, how are you, my friend? It's good to meet you finally.
I'm good. And as the show goes on, I might get a little bit high because the shed was painted yesterday. So there's a lot of paint fumes in here and it's really hot today. So yeah, take advantage of it as it goes along. But I'm good. Yeah, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on, all of you.
Most people who watch this show will get higher as the show goes on. So I think that's probably a good thing. We'll find out. But yeah, man. Your book is phenomenal. I know I keep saying it, and I've mentioned it a number of times on the show, but I really enjoy reading it. And my son is into it now. He loves it. And I found him going through it the other day. And so I actually pulled it out again and started reading through it some more. And I just wanted to say I really enjoyed it. And I wonder, can you talk a little bit about how long it took you to put that together, and what was your approach to choosing the cases that you did?
No, thank you. ChatGPT mainly wrote it. No, I didn't. So People will think that now. So I was asked to write it just after the David Grush came forward in 2023, and a publisher reached out to me. I didn't want to write a book. I know a lot of people say that, but I had no plans to do it. And yeah, it came together over from October 2023 into 2024. A huge chunk of it in the summer of 2024, when the European Football Championships were on. I used to spend a lot of time during work and after my day job just in the office in a Starbucks, writing bits and pieces. I'm not a writer. Anyone who's read it can probably tell that. And from there, it was finished kind of early 2024, mid 2024. Yeah, and then got published. So, like I say, I'm really lucky. The publisher done a great job. They made my words look and sound good. They were very complimentary, but like you say, the graphics team that put stuff together, the illustrators, designers, never met any of these people, perhaps never will, but they've all done a very good job putting that out there. So yeah, I appreciate it.
It's I wish I had a better angle to show people, because I need to get a top down camera so I can show people books, but the layout is so beautiful. I'm a photographer. It's what I do in my normal career, and I have a lot of photo books, and I teach photography, and I'm a book guy. Something about like picking up a heavy book and sitting down in a chair and just like focusing in on it and enjoying that for an hour with no distractions. That is, the feel of the paper. Everything about this book is top shelf. I mean, the graphics team, whoever did the layout, it is beautiful. The pictures are great. I mean, it's just stunning.
And it's strong. So if you have like a broken table or something and you want to prop it up, you can put the book underneath. It's multi-purpose, kind of like the original iPad.
That's where I put it.
Yeah,
that's where it was.
Under a table, under. But it's really good. I'm relatively proud of it. So yeah.
Well, I want to talk to you about a couple of the cases. There was the first one I wanted to ask you about is the one that you kind of opened the book in your introduction with when you were a kid. I think you said you were like 11, and you were walking and saw this thing that. Can you talk about that experience?
Yeah.
What did you see?
Yeah, so I was about 10 or 11 years old in the mid-90s. So I've just turned 40, which is old age in Scotland. We don't usually make it that long. And in the mid-90s, no camera phones, nothing like that. I used to go to the BB, which is the Boys Brigade, kind of the Scouts type organisation. And it was held in a church. I'm not religious in any way, shape or form. I always feel I have to add that in there. And it was a kind of cold winter's night in Scotland, really busy area. A lot of the times you hear about UFOs, they're out in the desert, they're in the middle of a field somewhere, a big park. This was like all houses as far as the eye can see. Shops, a busy main road, community centre, and we walked out the church, and there's like a long road, a couple of miles long, and I remember looking up to the right hand side to cross, and I was with my mum, my sister, her friend, my friend, and his mum, and across the road to the right hand side, about half a mile away, there was like, if you could imagine a Ferris wheel, but at an angle, kind of 20-30 degrees, spinning incredibly fast. You couldn't, if I said I could make out a shape, I'd be lying. But if you imagine a saucer at an angle, but just lights going round, like if it was a Ferris wheel at a carnival, everyone was dead because of the speed it was going. You couldn't discern a shape. You couldn't see the bottom of it. It was so low to the ground. So it wasn't like it was up in the sky. It was really low down. And we just watched it for a minute. I remember my mum and my friend's mum saying how strange it looked. And we just went home from there. We lived like that way from it. So you're kind of diagonal. And yeah, mid-90s, no camera phones, no real internet to speak of at the time that people had commercially. And you don't go home and phone the police. What do you do? So that was it, and always kind of stuck with me.
When you were putting the book together, one of the cases, the first one that really jumps out at me is the Kingman case. I find that one really interesting. Xander did an episode on U-House not too long ago. I was reviewing the Kingman case this morning, and about the simulator and J-Rod and just the way that all kind of ties together into some other things that I'm interested in. Is there one that you have a favorite case out of this collection that just really jumps out at you?
I've got my notes to my side because I forget what cases I put in. Really strangely, my favourite case isn't in the book, which is Phoenix Lights. And I think I was leaving that to write about it last because I was like, I'll leave that one just to do later on. Or if I get enough cases, I'll put that in a second book if I'm ever asked to write anything else. Not that anyone would. And of the ones I read about, I really enjoyed some of the kind of stranger ones because it's really easy to write about cases in the United States because I think your average Joe in the street says this always happens in America. But the remit for the book, the one remit was, can you make sure it's international with an international flavour? So 17 US, 17 international. But stuff like the Voronezh incident from the USSR was really strange. Dalnogorsk in 1986. There was material covered by Soviet scientists. What runs through a lot of those cases, though, is US involvement, US scientists, US military kind of picking things up. And we hear about a lot of that kind of stuff. But the Frederick Valentic incident is really unique to me because you've got a young pilot going missing off the coast of Australia over the Bass Strait, and you've got the transcript of what he says. So it's not just radar data. It's not just, a sighting. You've got actually him talking through, I've got this thing following me. It's above me. It's not an aircraft. This is so strange. And you get him talking through it as it's happening. And that's quite unique in a lot of UFO cases. So for me, that one is one that stands out. And we never heard or saw of Frederick Valentic again. So not only is it a sighting, but he disappears afterwards as well. So it's pretty incredible. And it would make for a pretty cool, episode on something, X-Files coming back, that kind of stuff. That would look pretty cool.
Do you have a particular area of interest that is just really a focal point for you? Like, from Dan is, yours is abductions, right? Like mine's
It's my
abductions.
favorite. Yeah.
Just like some, or is it the nuts and bolts of the craft, or is it the reverse engineering program? Like, where are you really dedicated to digging?
Good question. I think it's changed from when I started. It would have been nuts and bolts and how the craft kind of operate. But I think for me, more and more I'm interested in the idea these things are here already and the connotations of what that would mean. Have they been here a long time? Is it a newer phenomenon? How many of these things are here? The idea of underwater bases. These craft potentially being manufactured under the water. I know there's been some chat recently again, the Tic Tacs are Lockheed Martin or human technology. I would still dispute that for many reasons. We'll probably get to stuff like that later. But yeah, just the whole idea that these things are not necessarily coming from that far away, that really piques my interest. So yeah, I'd say that, especially over the last year or two.
How has this space evolved since you started looking into it? Like you describe in your book being a young kid, having a sighting, and then, being the kid who was fascinated by the strange and mysterious. I was that kid, I think we were all that kid to some degree or another. And I had one idea of what I thought the phenomenon was when I was like 14, but that's obviously a lot. It's changed a lot. How has it changed for you? What did you think was one way, and how has that evolved?
I think the obvious one was, how cool is it that we've got spaceships coming from another planet somewhere far away, and these creatures sometimes come and visit, abduct, mutilate, contact, and then you start to really, from doing the podcast, you speak to more people, same as all you guys will have, and you hear different theories. You get the idea they're not coming from that far away. Actually, there's physical beings, there's non-physical beings. And it's just the fact that it's an umbrella phenomenon. And there are so many people who love different aspects of this phenomenon. I think talking before we hit record about people going to contact in the desert, there's such an array of interests there. And you can be interested in the UFO topic like myself and have things that I find really, really debatable on their authenticity, i.e. when someone tells me they're in touch with beings from the Pleiades, or these special crystals help them talk to NHI. Okay, maybe. But that stuff I really struggle with. But, I just told you about my sighting from 30 years ago. And then a lot of folks might call BS on that. and say, that sounds ridiculous, he's misidentified something, he's making it up, whatever. So who am I to kind of call out someone else's experience, as ridiculous as it may sound, as being inauthentic or not true? So I always kind of hold that kind of close to my chest. But yeah, I think just the size of the topic and the different areas of interest. We're going to talk about David Wilcox probably, some of the ideas that he brought forward. I think the idea in general that there are huge names in this conversation, and have been for decades, who can almost at times be found out as being outright liars or charlatans, and they will still have a following. They will still have people go along with them regardless. Corey Good literally sat in a deposition and more or less said, I made all this up, this is my intellectual property, but he still has people funding that fantasy. So it's a topic that I think more and more people find their tribe with it. I know that's a big thing in psychology, finding your tribe, and I think that happens with a lot of different things. Football, I know myself and Pavlo are huge football fans. Musicians like Dan, people find their tribe and you stick to it. But people can be so stubborn and pig-headed and not be able to see the kind of wood from the trees at times. So yeah, I think that answers your question.
I was doing I did a series entirely on the secret space program, like towards the back end of last year, and I was trying my best to do an episode on 20 and back, and I got about 40 minutes into the production. I'd spent days on this script and recording it, because I record and write as I go, and it got to the point where one of Corey Good's friends was talking about sharing a bunk with Obama in the secret space program, and I just said, I'm going to have to delete this episode. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, so I stopped that at that moment. I was like, no, I can't do it. Like, I'm not going to spread this stuff because it's ridiculous. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like,
one of my guilty pleasures before I started the podcast, I would really enjoy listening to Andrew Basiaggio on YouTube. And he talks about that kind of similar stuff, the JUMP program, and he talks about how himself and a young Barack Obama would be sent to Mars, be sent back in time, and he claimed he was going to be president in this timeline, but every time the presidential elections turned up and it was Trump v Biden or Clinton versus Trump, and he wasn't on the ballot, funnily enough, and he would say the timeline changed. But I think he went blind and started a GoFundMe, and I'm not even being flippant when I say that. So yeah, but he speaks so well, and he can go for like 3 or 4 hours, so eloquent, bang, 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 and he makes it sound real. But I think, again, that's up to the individual how they kind of view those stories, but because it gets wild, like that whole Obama as a kid was doing these JUMP programs, and they went back and saw the crucifixion, and they've been to Mars, and they've seen the wars being fought on Mars and stuff, and really cool what ifs and fun kind of fantasy. But let's be honest, what's the likelihood that's actually happening?
In a parallel universe, maybe.
What do you think is well, that's like we're Gaia TV, everything, right? Like, what's the show? Who's the guy that does the interview, the real softball interviews, where he interviews like,
oh my god,
so you were a space marine, tell me about that. The guy, I don't know who the guy he's on. With a straight face, and then it's like you could just say anything, and then he's like, cool, all right, well, so what was that like? And you just, and then they just spit out these shows. What do you find, like, I guess everybody's got their thing, right? The tribe thing you said is really true. That's an interesting point. Do you feel like we've gotten to a UFO mainstream moment? It feels like it's kind of gone fully mainstream. Do you get that sense?
No, not properly. No. Not like, it's not there yet. Until it's regular. I think the closest we have come to UFOs being truly mainstream, and you've got to think it's not just in the US, it's got to hit international shores as well, was Grush. When Grush came forward, that hit the UK cycle for a couple of days. That was, and I don't maybe think people in the United States can appreciate, because you're in a bubble in the US really, and like politically and with the news cycles, whereas I think, is it fair to say outside of the US we probably see a lot more international news, because what happens in the States affects us a lot more. So the Grush story hit the UK shores, hit the mainstream, hit the broadsheet journalists, I had phone calls off of all kind of weird and wonderful newspapers, but like serious people who were like, I can't believe this is true, but this guy seems really genuine. Grush himself shocked a lot of folks. That was the closest we came to this being mainstream. I don't think where we are right now is there. It goes like this, the UFO topic. I hope the Spielberg movie makes a difference. For anyone thinking he's got real aliens in it, real alien sounds and stuff, that's nonsense. But I think there's a chance if we get something dropping in the coming weeks with the aliens.gov or Alien.gov site, and in conjunction with that movie, which Spielberg must be loving the viral marketing that can go along with that, at the same time, that can make a difference again. But I feel we've not had a peak like Grush, perhaps maybe ever, in UFO circles. And for me, it really lasted 4 days if you're talking UFOs going mainstream.
Don't you think, though, that moment, just Grush making the statements that he's made so far, has pushed the conversation so much further along? I mean, like you said, we have a Spielberg movie called Disclosure Day now. Like, what? It seems like so much has happened since 2017. I talk about this a lot. If you look at other podcasts like Joe Rogan, and he has Bob Lazar on, he's getting 8, 9, 10 million views per video. I mean, it's crazy the numbers that he's getting. So it seems like people have it's much more at top of mind for a lot of people. You don't see that? That doesn't.
Some people, yeah, but I think you've got to think what is truly mainstream, and you've got to go to your average person in the street, not your YouTube bros who watch Joe Rogan. And that's a great audience he's got, because it is on the pulse for a lot of people, given the size of the audience. Same with a Sean Ryan, Alex Friedman. These guys get millions, really serious views. And then you're level down, you've got your Jesse Michaels, your Chris Ramseys, that are making essentially the new TV shows. They're not making podcasts, they're making TV shows for people, right? For me, when it gets to the point I can go to people in an office and say, give me some names about UFOs and tell me some stuff, they're still going to say Roswell. Most won't say David Grush or even know that name. They might mention somebody who came forward and talked about UFOs and aliens. I still tend to find your average person with an interest in this topic that I speak to in the UK will say Stephen Greer, Jeremy Corbell, Bob Lazar. And that's if they can name all three. They'll say that guy who talks about UFOs on Netflix, and they'll mean the Doctor, and they'll mean Greer. Or they'll talk about Corbell as a documentary maker. Or they'll talk about Bob Lazar being the main UFO guy who worked on UFOs. That for me still is UFO mainstream. I think if you do like kind of Family Fortune style, ask 100 people in the high street, tell me a name in ufology, they might go, what? Okay, tell me a name in UFOs. You'll be lucky if you get 2 or 3 would say a Grush, Elizondo, Mellon. Outside of that for me is truly mainstream. Is the subject more popular and less stigmatized? 100%. Is it mainstream? No, not yet.
It's even better. It's like underground.
Yeah,
underground.
It's their favourite band has been signed to a record label, but they've not released their first album yet.
Yeah,
and them before that. That's where we're at.
But it will go mainstream, though. It will go mainstream.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use this opportunity to plug a friend of the show who made this for me, and this is the UFO pendant that I wear. So if I'm ever out and people are like, "Oh, you're into UFOs," this is like being in a secret society. You can show this. Mitch at Earth and Objects Jewelry makes these, and he has some awesome designs. So please go there and check him out. And this one, just show people you're serious when you meet him on the street.
I wonder if you get this, Andy. If you go to like a party anywhere and you get the one guy who has nobody else to talk to, and I never have anyone to talk to because I always go to the parties of my wife's friends. You always get the guy come up to you and he's like, "Oh, I heard you're like into UFOs. Cool. What's going on then?" And it's man. Okay, yeah, cool. Let's exchange numbers and let's.
But sometimes you meet cool people that way. Like I've made real friends that way, and it's kind of awesome. I'm like, thank God you're here. Okay, let's talk about something that I'm actually interested in, that I can have a conversation. You don't have that.
It's usually a guy who has been pre-drinking for like 3 hours, and literally cannot name a single person. So they're not.
He wasn't
they're
actually
not,
invited to the party.
No, it's just some random off the street. Yeah.
So to Clint's point and yours, Ander, I think maybe one of the positives then is how that kind of approach has changed, where people, instead of coming up and being like, what's going on, people are probably more likely now, thinking of my own interactions, to say, so is this real then? And I think that for me is a really positive shift and change in the approach, that there's still a long way to go, but people are far more open to the idea that, so this is real. And they want you to almost convince them and give them what's new, what's the evidence. And that's still a difficult sell. That is still a difficult sell. But there's, to Clint's point he's making, there's a lot of positive moves happened, especially when you can rhyme off US politicians, from senators, congressmen and women, presidents, former presidents, all in the last, couple of months, making a waiver
this week
in UFOs. Yeah, this week. So like I've said, when people say it's a quiet week or a quiet couple of weeks, maybe for people making content, idiots like us, right, you maybe see a bigger picture because you're so involved in, I'm doing stuff this week and I've heard more, I'm researching more. But if people really take a step back and look at everything that's happened from 2020, 2021, it's so busy. There's so much happens. And like, that's why I appreciate some of you guys and what you do, like Pavel particularly, how often you do those shows where I go to bed and Pavel's put a show out, and I'll go to sleep and wake up in the morning and he's got a second one out because something else has happened and he's talking about it. And it's like, fuck, so that first one that I was going to talk about tomorrow is not even relevant anymore because it's now Pavel's second last show.
Just understand, he's just showing off, dude. That's all he's doing. He's just showing off.
He just scoops himself. He just sits hovering over the live.
It's ADHD, I swear.
Yeah, it's something. So yeah, but I think that just shows you how busy it is, and there is always something going on. And it's crazy that we live in this time, because imagine trying to do this 15 years ago. There's no news, there's no regularity, and that's where it was monthly newsletters. I miss the days of VHS, going into like a video store and seeing alien autopsy video. It was the same couple of videos you'd see, and it used to scare me picking up the VHS and seeing like the grey, with the face.
Fire in the Sky. That's Pat Burlington's favorite movie.
God. Yeah, terrifying. So yeah, but I think so much has changed for the good, and that there's pros and cons to that as well.
By the way, Clint, today is Andy's 6-year anniversary for starting That UFO Podcast. Today.
Is that right? Congratulations. Wow.
It is 6 years of nonsense.
Bravo.
Dude, I have listened to your podcast. I used to walk my dog around the track when I was trying to think of how to start my channel and what I was going to do and how to do it. I would listen to your show and just like take it in. And so I've actually, I've never met you until today, but I've heard your show many, many times, and it's one of my favorites.
Do you know what? It's very, very humbling how many people say that to me. And I think what they do is they take note of, if this idiot can do it, so can I. But also what not to do. So I've inspired thousands to start up podcasts. But no, you guys all do it incredibly well. Not to blow smoke up arses and stuff, but nice looking setups. And I'm still here in this fucking shed, getting killed slowly by toxic paint fumes around me on a hot summer's day. Like, so yeah.
But you do it for the cause, dude, and we appreciate it.
How hot does it get really there, bro? Come on.
Well, no, listen, right. So in the UK today, it's like 22 or 23 degrees outside. I'll let you convert that yourselves to your.
I've got my fan on.
That's fresh.
Got my fan on.
However, I am in like a black shed that gets the sun for the entire afternoon. So I am kind of sitting in like a sauna, more or less, while I record. That's why my hair's not done.
Or it's freezing. Or in the winter, it's freezing there for you.
But I like that. I've got my electric blanket now that I only got last year. So that makes a big difference. I would rather be cold. I have done some interviews that I have sweat profusely during them. Terrifying back in the day. But yeah.
How can I ask, when your shed setup, I'm always interested in how other creators do it, because I'm in a spare office, I'm in a spare bedroom office, basically. Everybody's got, but then you get to like, I think, Chris Ramsey has his own back lot, and and everywhere in between, but it's always so interesting how other people do it. How do you set up your space? Like, how did that come together for you?
Like, if I do that, my finger is touching shelves above me.
Yeah.
I have no space. I can't move my arms past here because I've got stuff round about me. This is the way this was made. So I've kind of fit into what this already was when I came out to it. This shed used to be for purely storage, and I've put the pictures online before. And just during COVID, I cleaned it out. So this is not an ideal setup, but I make it work. A couple of ring lights, desktop PC, MacBook, and for the YouTube audience, a tumble dryer and some crap on top of it.
Oh, you had, I would have never known. I would have never known.
Yeah.
It looks like a
magic.
wall.
Chris Ramsey, eat your heart out.
Movie magic, people.
He is in the chat.
It's Ramsey in the chat. Hey, Ramsey. Shout out to our friend Chris Ramsey. I think who's got a Ramsey hat? Oh, just me today. All right. Last week we all had Ramsey hats on. What was I going to ask you about next? What do you think about the state of disclosure? I mean, just this week we had the president is being asked about it pretty much every day now. Somebody in the press pool is asking about UFOs, and he seems to have an answer. What's your sense of where we're at right now vis-a-vis disclosure?
We're in a potentially good place. I get, and you can't help but get political these days, can you? Because Trump's a pretty divisive guy, but so was Biden. So, that's just the way of the world. Trump's talked a lot about this topic. He did have 4 years and didn't, really have a lot of action in terms of it. It seems to be people around him are more interested in the topic than he is. But he's been quite praiseworthy of the pilots he's spoken to. He always mentions that he finds incredibly credible people, and they've seen some amazing things. He can sign this off. He can help get some of this stuff out. I think we're going to get this Aliens.gov website is going to get the videos dumped on it. Of the 46, I'll be really honest. If 3 of them are interesting, I'll be happy. I think we're going to get a lot of stuff that will be shot down pretty quickly as birds, balloons, fuzzy blobs, and we might get some interesting commentary round about them. I'd be really happy if 3 of them are genuinely interesting, but I imagine a lot of it's going to get shot down really quickly. It's an opportunity. If you're a gatekeeper and you're in charge of this topic, here's a wonderful chance to dump a lot of shit on people's plates and go to the public who are going to have their eyes on this, because this is something the mainstream will pick up on for 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months. We don't know. It'll depend on the quality of what's released. But this is a chance for them to dump a lot of crap and go, oh, look, here's some UFO stuff. And people will go, oh, fuzzy blobs again, and turn off. Or they give us something interesting, something to get our teeth into. And like I say, if just a couple of those are videos that within 5 minutes on X or Facebook or Instagram, people haven't already debunked it, I'll consider that a massive success, and that could move us forward. And like I say, coincidence or not, you've got the Spielberg movie coming out. You've got books like the Atlas of UFOs available to buy on Amazon, not to plug it, but you've got so much happening. Corbell's documentary's coming out. That'll get eyes on it. Divisive, again, as a character as Jeremy can be for some folks, he can be Marmite. A lot of people, their entryway into this topic is Jeremy Corbell. Your average Joe, the first thing they come across is his documentaries on Netflix. Same with Stephen Greer, love him or hate him. Stephen Greer is a gateway and an entryway into this. Greer will have a new documentary out pretty soon. It's been a few weeks since he had one released. So there will always be something coming along. It's going to be a busy summer. We are overdue another hearing. I hope that the next hearing is powerful. It's really disappointing that the one we had with Knapp & Co. that I thought was actually really good, it happened 24 hours prior to the Charlie Kirk assassination, which just that's it. Headline's gone. Yeah. So if we could get something to happen that gets a little bit of spotlight, we get a couple of cool witnesses involved, and then you've got all this mysterious scientist shit in the background, which is really capturing imaginations for good or for bad, because it's pretty serious. Yeah,
I think there was a rumor that the next hearing was going to be about MK Ultra.
Yeah, not a rumor. It's confirmed.
Oh, great. Okay.
May 13th.
Soon. Okay.
That's a good thing.
It depends on how they do it, man. Because and yeah, I don't trust that they'll do it well, if I'm honest with you. But if it's done well, which means they do talk about everything, it is going to be chaos. But I don't think it will be bad in the long run.
It's
You get
not
the
exactly
sense, though-
like sorry.
I was just going to ask if you get the sense that there's a lot of motion behind the scenes, right? Like it seems like there's so much smoke every day. And I know I agree with what you're saying. Like there's also a there's an ecosystem of like news reporting around UFOs that does kind of come and go and wax and wane. But even more than that, behind the scenes, it's like we have David Grush advising Congress. He's on the task force now, advising Burleson and Burchett, and you've got Luna. I mean, it seems like there's a group of members of Congress who are at least hip to what's going on, enough to know when they're being, lied to, or if they're being, just told a bunch of nonsense. Certainly, Burchett seems that way to me. Do you think that'll have an impact?
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because we can look at it really positively, and it's all opinion. But David Grush, I think, generally seems to have the backing and support of the kind of UFO community as a really credible guy, and I personally think he is as well. And you would see him as an advisor and a consultant as a really positive thing. But you've also got Eric Burleson on news channels with Stephen Greer beside him. So I can't imagine David Grush and Stephen Greer provide the same counsel. So you've got a Burleson being pulled left and right. You've then got Danny Sheehan involved, it seems. You've then got Corbell and Knapp involved. So you've got congressmen and women being pulled in different directions with different narratives and different agendas, not all good or bad. That's a difficult place to be, because who are they actually listening to? I think Luna particularly, and I don't mean this to sound derogatory, but she has sat on certain interviews and just went bleh, in terms of, it sounds like somebody told her before she went on, say this, say this, say this, say this, say this. And she's went, yeah, the Book of Enoch, there's angels, and the angels aren't angels. And actually, when we say angels and demons, and it sounds like a lot of stuff she's been told that it's not her fault she's not fully across, but it's like they're trying to catch up and learn so much in such a short time. I'm just wary of who they're actually listening to and how much information they're getting from these people. That's a concern I've got.
It's a fair concern, I think.
It's a weird difference in interpretation of like what disclosure actually means. Like I think that's one thing that's very vague. What is that term? Do you
remember
indicate?
Was it last year? Chris Mellon and Linda Moulton Howe had like a sit down interview at some event. I can't remember where they were. It was something in Washington. Was it before a hearing, or do you remember this? There was like a.
I remember didn't she talk to Lou Elizondo at one point? I remember that. They had a weird interview.
The weirdest one was Linda Moulton Howe and Chris Mellon, that I can't see as two more different people in the UFO world.
No, she's awesome though.
Yeah, but that's a really weird juxtaposition to have.
Tell me about the bodies.
Yeah,
in the tubes. Why are there thousands of bodies? Wait, what?
What, Linda?
Chris, why are we sending super soldiers across Antarctica to fight against the Greys? And Mellon's like, And I'm making that comment flippantly, but I think there's something along those lines in that interview, like that kind of, and it's such a strange, and that's what I said to Danny Sheehan when I spoke to him. You're in Stephen Greer's camp and Lou Elizondo's camp. Those two guys sitting across from each other, it's not going to happen, unfortunately, on any of our shows, more than likely. Maybe a Jesse Michaels could sit them both down. But then can you imagine a Stephen Greer and a David Grush, even, let's say, across a table, having a conversation? Like Dan shaking his head. Clint,
it'd be so hard to watch.
Doesn't seem, yeah.
David doesn't need that. He doesn't. That's the difference. Like David fucking knows. I think that's it. Stephen has got whatever he's doing. He's got the Stephen Greer show, and like that's a constant thing that's always on. Because I agree, like you said, every 15 minutes there's a new documentary, and it's like a lot of it's rehashing the same thing he's been saying for 30 years. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but in terms of being the guy who is constantly promising, like, tomorrow I'm going to break this thing wide open, and then that day never comes. I feel like a lot of people have been let down. And I could see how this time around, as you pointed out, this is a great opportunity to dump a bunch of cold water, blow up the balloon of expectations, and then just release a bunch of nonsense that people are completely turned off by, and then that puts out the discussion for a little while. But I don't know. There's another part of me that thinks it's moved beyond that point now. Like after Grush, it's kind of, we just have so much more detail. There was a quote. We have a couple of clips too. We've got a clip of Trump talking about releasing some files, and then there's a clip of Xander. You had it pulled up in the tear sheet of Grush, his clip as well. Maybe we could take a look at these. There's another version of this that shows the two astronauts. Did you guys have that one too?
Yeah,
I've seen that one.
I want to show the folks who haven't seen it at home. If you have it, Xander, we could pull that one up. If not,
And when they give the look, that one.
That's really weird.
I don't know.
What did you think about this statement, Andy?
So is this the one where he does mention people seeing some strange things and the two astronauts going to go and give each other the eye quickly?
Yep.
I've been talking for the last 2 minutes without actually anybody being able to hear me. This isn't that version, but yes, I know which video you're talking about, where he says the pilots, he talked to pilots who said they'd seen some interesting things, and then right at that moment, the two NASA astronauts looked at each other like, "So have we." But this in particular, this post in particular, I found pretty interesting because Dan Scavino is the assistant to the president, deputy chief of staff at the White House, and he retweeted this little clip from Fox News, which is it's this one. I don't know.
President, I have two questions for you. First, on the topic of space, do you have an update on the UFO files and when we're going to be seeing those?
Well, I think we're going to be releasing as much as we can in the near future. For some reason, and I guess it's just a reason that's been in the minds of people for a long time, that is such, they want to find out about the UFOs and anything having to do with UFO or related material, and we're going to be releasing a lot of things that we have, and I think some of it's going to be very interesting to people. I've interviewed people, my first term primarily, but I interviewed some pilots, very solid people, and they said they saw things that you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, so right at that moment, the two astronauts stood behind him. They had slightly off camera. I don't have the clip to hand, but I don't think you really need to see it. But they just kind of glance over at each other, like, yeah, it's interesting.
But once again, by the way, I'm sorry, go ahead, Xander.
Just to finish off, this Dan Scavino immediately posts it with a little alien emoji, and I take that as either he's taking the piss, which really annoys me, or he's like really excited about something. I don't know, but like he's not the kind of guy that should be doing that if he's taking the piss, because it is a serious topic, and it's still like doing that to make fun is like, I thought we were past that kind of stuff where they sort of talk about it as in like, oh, they're coming from Mars kind of stuff. Like, no, those are the jokes that that we used to say that we don't anymore, because this is a serious conversation. There are things happening in Congress. Like, let's take it a bit more seriously. So I don't know what to make of Dan like reposting that. That wasn't the first time somebody from the White House has posted a little alien emoji in response to questions and things either.
Yeah, Pete Hegseth did it a few weeks ago as well. But I want to point out again that once again, Trump kind of makes a very subtle comment about how he doesn't really care about this, because he says, I interviewed people more in my first administration. Like, he made a point of that. He does every chance he gets. I feel like he wants to make it clear that he doesn't really care, but you guys do. So we'll talk about it, but I don't really care about it. I still get that from him, that he doesn't give a fuck.
Can I give you my opinion on that? Because I think there's a lot of people that are in denial of a lot of this. I have this with my brother, Diego. He's a very scientific guy. He's an engineer, and when he knew what I was starting to do with the channel, it was like, are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna leave a career in sports journalism to do this shit? And I'm like, whoa, dude. And whenever there's a conversation that starts, when we start talking about this, we're family and everybody's there, he just walks up and leaves. Like, and it's like that. There's a lot of people like that just don't want to deal with it. Even if it was true, they don't want to deal with it. And I think that's the energy that I get from Trump whenever he is dismissive like that. Like, it's not that he doesn't care, it's that he doesn't want to deal with it. Like, he never has wanted to deal with it, really. That's my read.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that he knows all that much. I don't know that. Okay, so let's just, it doesn't have to be Trump. Let's just say Biden is the president. Okay, I'll shit on Biden for a minute. Biden didn't know what room he was in. Biden didn't know what shoes he had on. Biden didn't know, how to get, from A to B without somebody holding his hand. He could barely walk down a flight of stairs. I don't think you trust a guy like that with this kind of sensitive information. If we're to believe it's that secret, that's super secret, I don't see how, regardless, you have to consider who the actual man or woman is that is wearing that suit and sitting behind that desk. It's not just the president. It's a person too. And they've got fucking, mental problems sometimes, and maybe they're not all there, and maybe you can't really trust them. So I struggle with this idea that Trump is like fully briefed in on all this stuff and other people would be kept out of the loop. However, I'm also open to that idea that maybe he is, and maybe this is just, it just seems like it's so, the people who get close enough to the center of this secret, however far away that may be, the ones who get deeper and deeper into the shadows of investigating it seem to get pretty freaked out. And then, yeah, to your point, Pavel, it seems like Donald Trump doesn't really react in any, it's just like one more curiosity. I think, it's,
yeah,
we want to, it's disclosure is just like, you could have a slow drip of good and bad information coming out that is like a muddled mess, right? And that could be disclosure, and that could happen over a period of 30 years. And at the end of it, you would have all the information, but it wouldn't really add up to much, and you wouldn't really know what you were looking at, and you really wouldn't know what is true and what's false. Kind of like where we are now. We're drowning in information. We just don't know what is reliable. But what I think a lot of people want, and I think I'm one of these people, is not just disclosure, but a declaration. I want an official notarized statement from somebody at the top of the chain of command that is like, yes, this is a real thing. Now you can, as you were, back to your regularly scheduled program. The rest, I will go find out on my own.
Why do you want that?
I guess when we're talking about what disclosure is to me, that would constitute when I'm thinking disclosure, I'm thinking like the president comes out and there's a giant press conference, all networks are covering it. I picture like, and maybe it's just my age, but that, when Ronald Reagan is talking at the United Nations and you see that fucking room, how big it is. And it's like people from all over the world, and he, it's every representative, and he's at this, podium, and he's like, and he's talking to Gorbachev, and he's like, if we had a common enemy, maybe we could overcome our differences and help each other. That kind of moment. And I think the reason I want that is because the world feels so far beyond fucking crazy right now that a unifying moment that's like a pro-human, pro-earth, like positive, we needed an event like that. I think that's what people want. I certainly do.
What if
so it's not for you?
as...
It's more for public. It's more to bring the general public up to speed, not necessarily for you.
I would just look at it. If I were the president, or if I was advising the president, I would say, look, you have an opportunity here. This is a one-time deal. You get to play this card one time. You'll be the only president in history who ever does it. No one will ever forget your name. They'll build statues about of you for centuries. You're going to change the world today. But when you do that, just understand that like when you play this, when you spend this coin, you're going to have almost an unlimited amount of goodwill capital that you can use in that moment. Don't squander it. Don't blow it on some stupid nonsense. Like, really, let's figure out a better way to like move forward as a species. This could unify us.
That's one way to convince him, or you can also tell him that Obama is going to disclose and he'll do it the next day.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, I think as well, short of the NHI literally showing up themselves and saying, look, guys, we're real, there are legitimately, I believe, very few people on Earth that could say something with enough weight behind it. And even the president of the United States is now like everyone is still saying, like, well, not everyone, but a few people are like, oh, it would just be a distraction, like we wouldn't believe it. So even now, a presidential announcement that there is alien life interacting with humanity might not necessarily be that watershed moment, because people on X would be like, let's break this down. I've not seen the bodies. But anyway.
Question for everyone here on the panel and everyone playing the game at home in the chat, just shout out to me. Would another world leader, if another world leader, and I'm thinking like President Xi of China, came out and did, like, at this stage in China's, arc, they are, a peer of the United States. Like, they're just, I mean, in terms of economic strength and what they can, do with the world stage. If they said something, would that make a difference?
Yeah.
Yep.
If he was like, the People's Republic of China, we have recovered these craft, we've successfully re-engineered their technology, and we're going to begin deploying it to make sure that the Chinese economy is the most advanced in the world. We invite other countries to join us on this new chapter of history. It would feel like, oh shit, the Chinese are leading us into the next century. This is it. Okay. And in a day, you would have people in the minds of the world, it would be like, well, America is a failed power, a kind of a mess. The future is over here. I feel like that's the kind of moment we're looking at. I wonder.
I also think the Pope saying something would be massive as well. That could be a powerful statement. I'm not religious at all, but I think it could get to people. It could hit people in a different way.
If they disclose and open the Vatican library, I will be convinced.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I would accept the Vatican to say something about this. But for me, and I've heard Andy talking about this on the show multiple times, that it would have to come, if it counts as disclosure, it would have to come from a government or the scientific community, like something from James Webb that I've heard Andy talking about for the longest time. That would be something like that. And it makes you think, though, that this guy Grillmare, that's what he was doing. He was investigating James Webb. Like, he was leading the project. It's kind of weird.
I think best case scenario too would be to have multiple world leaders present it together, like a unified, get 5 superpowers or whatever together on one podium to be like, hey, everybody, to all of our people, this is a reality, and let's figure out how to move forward with this information. And we have a lot of questions, and we have even more, with a long ways to go, but a unified global front would be perfect.
Never.
What a clean page, clean sheet. You don't think so?
Yeah.
Ever?
No. I think the most credible way for it, because no matter what world leader does it, so whether it was Putin, Xi Jinping, or is it Xi Jinping? Chinese did, or Trump, you're going to get questions either way. I think if you had a scientific board standing, like nameless people we don't know of, head of this, head of that, head of astrophysics here, and they stand and say, James Webb Telescope, Pavel has heard this many times, we have detected undeniable signs of life 18 months ago. We checked it 12 months ago. We checked it 6 months ago. It's only getting stronger. And we think we have found signs of civilization, not just methane gas, we have found industrial pollution, light sources on another planet. Undeniable. We are not alone. I think that holds far more weight with your average person than Trump, Putin, insert another in here. And that also, I think, I was going to say, you're probably going to say it there, Dan. I think that gives gatekeepers, legacy programs, people keeping this a secret, it gives them an out that you can then almost allow the public to learn as they go. And there's almost like an ignorance is bliss, where it's okay that we've found something really far away, and then you start walking that back, because then the public now know there's nothing here, but there's something really far away. But maybe that means something could be coming here, and you slowly get more and more people on board along the journey. We're going to send a probe. The probe's going to take X amount of years. During that time, we're going to step up funding across these different disciplines. Oops, we found something even closer. Oh, we're on one of the moons of Pluto that's water. We're going to make sure we're actually going to put another $5 billion into this. They're all racing to get there, because we've got the Chinese, got the Russians, got the US, all fighting to get the first probes. Oh, look, we found this massive fucking whale alien under the ice. These creatures aren't, capable of communicating with us, but here's alien life on another planet. not as we expected, and then again, and you can do that over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and it just allows the public to acclimate to that idea as well. Or along the way, huge craft appears over some major city, boom, done.
That's what I'm gonna say. Is like what you just said it's a great point, but I think we all agree that the fact is that something is here now. Like something is here right this second. So if we say we've discovered, signs of life so far away, that's true, but it's also kind of a lie by omission because we do know it's a lot more to it than that. So it's still not being completely honest with the public.
Do you think the public will care?
In which that they're being lied to, or care what?
I don't. Do you think they'll care largely that they've been lied to, that there has been a cover up? I think 0.01% on X will care. But
without the context being provided alongside why the secrecy is such a crime against humanity, people won't connect the dots.
But like, if they care anyway?
If they would, it depends. If they were truly told that, like, I mean, this is providing this is the truth. I don't actually know. But let's say we did reverse engineer something along the lines of a new energy source that could have literally rid the world of poverty 80 years ago, and stopped us basically destroying the planet for money.
No wars.
Yeah, and or at least less wars. You'd hope.
Or a bigger war.
Or one massive one. Yeah, who knows? With that amount of context, people should absolutely be really annoyed by the fact that it's been kept secret. I don't know which way people would go with it. People can seem to get really annoyed without doing anything about it. So
look at people just now. Epstein. Massive paedophile ring. Look at all these huge names covering up this. Oh, this is terrible. What's getting done about it? Are the public kicking off? Are we storming the gates? No.
Yeah,
and a little bit closer to home.
That has to do with fear too, dude. It's not just indifference; it's fear.
I would say the public is very engaged in that one. But what can we really do?
We're not storming the gates. So for me, then I think fear. Totally right, Pavel. But then would aliens not be 10 times or 100 times that, because you're literally dealing with another life form that you don't know what its agenda, what it could do.
It depends on whether it's positive or negative, because we've seen experiencers talk about both positive and negative experiences. So if the mass sighting is traumatizing, I agree. But if it's not, if it's something different, then we're talking about an entirely different reaction, right?
But that'll all be individual. Look at COVID. Some people hark back to the days of COVID really fondly and miss those days of being stuck in away from the public. Other people traumatize them.
Also, even if it's positive, I would also add that people are going to interpret it based on their worldview and philosophy. It's not going to be the exact thing that whatever those things are want to show us. It's going to be what we see through our lens, which makes it even more complicated.
I wonder if it's going to be more, sorry, just to jump in before this leaves my brain. I wonder if it's going to be more like less Hollywood and much more, like what I could see as a realistic option would be like, we don't get an official anything. We keep getting this drib drab of mixed information, some that's good, some that's bad. And then somewhere along the way, a corporation reveals some game changer technology, which they'll probably say they developed using advanced artificial intelligence tools, but it'll actually probably be something that they've gotten from a program, pulled from some deep thing. I don't see how you could have top-down control of this forever, right? Like, we know that the secrecy budget is 10x the actual budget of the program, at least something along those lines. You can't maintain that forever. Sooner or later, doesn't this technology have to become commercialized? It's worth so much. I mean, how you can't keep it locked up for the next 100 years.
Well, it could be commercialized already, just not to us. It could be. It's probably being used by somebody somewhere.
Yeah,
but we just can't. We can't play with that cool stuff. It's not for us.
But everything was like that at one point. Capri Sun, those little squeeze packs of Capri Sun juice. That was a NASA thing. I mean, like all the stuff that we use now. 50, 60, 75, 80 years ago was this cutting edge technology. And I wonder how long will it be until the cutting edge stuff that Lazar or whoever you choose was working on, inevitably, just kind of by the power and forces of the market, is just like there's a board of directors sitting around going, we're sitting on this shit. Like, so yeah, we're making a few craft out of it, but we could be making fucking everything out of this stuff.
The problem is that allegedly, if this technology is real, the technology is kind of anti-capitalist in a way, because it's so cheap and abundant and effectively limitless that, you know, BP just posted the fact that they've just doubled their profits since the beginning of the Iran war. Like, they're not going to give that up for free energy, because what's the point? Like, what they need to happen is that for living standards need to fall so low that people literally do not want to live in that condition anymore. That's kind of that's the time that people literally say, no, that's enough. And it could be at that point where nobody can afford energy anymore that somebody comes up with the grand answer, and we're willing to give up some freedoms to have some access to it, let's say. Because the alternative is much worse.
Can I give 2 points then? Because one on that and another one on the mass sighting thing, right? One, mass sighting. What if the mass sighting doesn't propel us forward? What if we get a Phoenix Lights-esque event now with an undeniable alien craft at some height and distance over a major city somewhere in the world, and it comes and goes, no contact, just literally it passes through, but people see it as undeniable. And from there, are the governments going to come out and go, yeah, we've got alien tech? No, they'll just go, wow, that was incredible, and we're going to investigate. There's nothing to say they're going to say, oh, we've seen this craft. Yeah, the public now knows worldwide we're potentially not alone, but what if it just comes and goes? That's an option. And secondly, see the free energy thing. I never understand where people get this concept of they've got the ability to create free energy, why everyone thinks they're going to get it and it will be free. Do you remember that episode of The Simpsons, right, where Homer has a daydream and he invents a cube and it's the greatest invention of all time, but he can't quite see it and stuff, right? Do people have this idea that we find out there's aliens tomorrow and then they go, okay, where's the free energy? And Elon Musk goes, actually, we've got 12 billion of these little free energy cubes we've made, and we're just going to give them out to everyone. How do people think this is going to work? If they come out and tell us we now have a new energy source, you're not going to be told it's free. All energy is technically, free if they want to make it free. You're going to get a new energy source. It's going to replace X, Y, and Z, coal, all that kind of stuff, right? Nuclear. You will pay a subscription for it. You fit this in your home. This will power everything in your home, but that will need to be manufactured, distributed, regulated. There will be different qualities and quantities of it. People will pay for it. So I never understand, and maybe someone can explain this to me, where this idea that we will all get free energy comes from. You will pay for it.
I would say if it in a good case scenario is that it's going to be cheap energy, not free energy. Because you're right.
The analogy is air travel. So air travel used to be ridiculous. I mean, I know it's going up now, but that's because energy prices are going up. But effectively, air travel became cheap because the technology advanced so much that the competition could keep offering lower and lower prices and still make a healthy profit. So it still works within capitalism, but at some point, a free energy device, let's say, that pulls from the vacuum, I don't know what it is, but the profit you could make off that, you'd have to basically create a light bulb cartel of all of the energy companies, which they may absolutely do. I'm sure they absolutely do stuff like that already. But at some point, the light bulb cartel broke because it was just too easy for somebody to replicate it and make it much, much cheaper and then offer it in abundance to the masses. But yes, it still requires a subscription and things like that.
Can I come in on that then? So we get this free energy device, okay? Do you ever remember, and this could be BS, but the point still stands. Years ago, there was a rumor that Saddam Hussein in Iraq was buying loads of PlayStation 2s to power and make it like a supercomputer. Whether that was true or not, I don't know. So with all the terrorism around the world, are we just going to dish out these devices that pull unlimited energy from the void to every Tom, Dick, and Harry to do what they want.
Great
point.
Great point.
Same
Great
with flying
point.
cars. We're going to get flying cars. We can all do this. Yeah, that'll work out well. Do we remember 9/11 when somebody hijacked a plane? Never mind, you can just fly your Tesla into anything you want, i.e. nuclear power plants, etc. Humanity is nowhere near on the cusp of a Jetsons-esque society.
Yeah, we're not ready.
Regardless of what anyone thinks.
We're not
No, people
responsible
aren't
enough
ready.
for any of that stuff.
Not a chance.
I
So
agree.
yeah, I hate to, maybe the Doomer thing goes up based on this, but
Yeah, go to Doomer Friday .com/vote. You can raise the escalate the Doom meter. We're at
Let's get to
Doom,
8. Let's get to 8.
Doom Factor 6 right now. Let's go to Doom
I wanted
Factor
to
8.
add something that may add to the meter. You got to add all of this to all of this. The whole jobs thing that is going to happen with AI. About 50% of jobs in many areas are going to be cut down. So you want to put a meter on free energy too, with people losing their jobs massively.
I think this is the whole point, right? Like these things are, the job thing is coming no matter what. And the Jetsons future is coming no matter what, because the advanced AGI is going to start making breakthrough technology just so frequently. I mean, it's going to be doing, it's already doing advanced mathematics and programming, and when it is able to do novel research and create new technology from scratch, you're going to start to see 100 years of progress in like 2 years, in terms of just leaps and bounds. So I think one thing I like about Richard Dolan talks about this a lot, this sort of panopticon surveillance state that's like gearing up, and you can see this with Palantir and all of the different AI companies just sort of getting involved in everything. I could see a future where we do get the Jetsons future, but the trade is no privacy ever. That's something
Trade
for the
is smart dust. Did you see that?
The elite. Oh yeah, I saw your smart dust thing. But the elite will have privacy. The top 1% can buy privacy, but the rest of us, your life will be surveilled and monetized, and it'll be surveillance capitalism for the rest of us. But I don't know.
You know where I feel we're going? Have you guys seen that movie Elysium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watched it last month. Yeah.
It's a
I
great
think
movie.
we're heading towards something like that. Like there's gonna be like this elite society. There's gonna live somewhere off planet, and then there's gonna be the rest of us that are gonna just try and make do with what we have here. I don't know, that it's a bit doomy, but I've always thought about that. It's like we're not moving to the Jetsons territory. We're not moving to a free energy society, to that utopia. That's not real.
It's going to happen. I think it's just going to be unevenly distributed, and it's going to take a while. There's going to be parts of the world will feel like you're living in the future. Parts of the world are going to feel like, the life expectancy will be 200 years, 180 of them really healthy. That's coming. That's already
That's the world now, though, Clint, isn't it? Where parts of the world look like we're in the future compared to
Tokyo.
folks who are running about with like loincloths on, and mass genocides of kids being macheted down because they pray to a different god. Like that's where we are now. So it's no different to how it is.
I mean, you can even go down, look at a city. I live in LA, and I'm probably within half a mile of a billionaire, but also there's a bunch of fentanyl zombies that are living under a bridge near my home. People that are probably going to be dead within the week next to these hyper rich, successful people. So we have that in neighborhoods, never mind like country to country.
I think that's going to, that defines the future at an extreme. Like when you go farther and farther out, you're going to see the ultra wealthy retreat into protected enclaves that are surrounded by private security and surveilled by robotic dogs that can see in the dark, and they work as a team, and they're going to have 30 of these things plus drones overhead, and then probably their own human security. It's going to be dark mirror, black mirror kind of shit. And the rest of the world will be whatever it is. Maybe your town defunded their police and there's no police force. Maybe a different town can't clean their water because no one has a job and there's not enough taxes to pay the water treatment people to go to work. And that's just, it's going to be uneven and just whoever can afford the ultimate will have it. I think it's going to be like that. It seems like that's the path.
I need a couple of guns, bro.
Yeah.
That's when I make my move to OnlyFans. That's
UFO
Only-
OnlyFans.
Apocalyptic movies. I love it.
Listen, I genuinely, slight sidebar to lift the mood. I was invited to OnlyFans during the week where they gave up doing the porn. If folks remember that a few years ago when they invited loads of podcasters, and it was like, it wasn't I was anything special, but they basically were desperate to get content creators, and they were pitching it as, we're moving away from all the adult stuff, get your podcast on our platform. And I was like, no. And within a week it was back to what it's known for, allegedly.
That UFO feet pics. I love it.
Yeah, check it out, folks. Yeah.
Where are you at, Andy, on abductions? What's your take on abductions? Are they happening? Is it still happening?
Yeah, I think we live in a society where if someone goes online and tweets in 140 characters or 280 characters, whatever it is these days, and says they're abducted, it's just another tweet, because there's so much. You said earlier, Clint, about we live in a time of so much information, and that's a problem across society. We've now went from being limited and not knowing, which came with a lot of cons, but a lot of pros, really, to a time where we all know everything. And let's be honest, 20 years ago, were us guys sitting in front of a microphone doing this, talking to people. We were likely, most of us, just normal guys going about doing our jobs, but now you've amplified everyone's voices. Everyone can have a voice, an opinion, based on all this information. And I made the point on the podcast a few weeks ago, I can't remember who I was on with, but does the truth even matter anymore to most people? When I talk about finding your tribe, people can just go and find the truth they want to believe in. And regardless whether it is genuinely factually correct, that's what they're going to believe. That's the narrative they like. We see it across football, politics, academia, science, conspiracy theories.
Sure.
The truth is becoming less and less relevant depending on the individual. That might be the paint fumes talking, but I think that's, for me, a lot of where society's at right now. Really easy and lazy example is COVID and the vaccine stuff, where did it work? Did it not work? Were they microchipping us? Were they putting magnesium and metals in our blood? Or was it genuinely there to help? Was it not? Doesn't matter, because everyone's made up their mind. If we had another lockdown announced next month, COVID-20 comes along, and okay, we're going into lockdown, would it have the same effect? No, most people wouldn't do it. Regardless of the scientists and the people on your TV who are qualified, most folks wouldn't do it. So people will pick their camps, they'll choose their battles. So we're at a point in society, and this impacts obviously the UFO topic, where, same to my point about the Greer camp, the Elizondo camp, the Grush camp, it no longer matters what's true and what's not true. So back to my answer to your question about abductions, it would just be another tweet. Yes, they still happen, more than likely. If they don't, then that means the reason for the abductions, they're finished. If there was an objective to study, then do you know what? They got the information they need. And that's not, remember, this phenomenon isn't one entity, in my opinion. I have to always say, in my opinion, this is multiple entities. Certain ones were performing these abductions because some seemed really pleasant, others seemed a lot less pleasant. So if they have stopped, is that necessarily a good thing? Because that to me sounds like we're done with that phase and we're moving on to something else.
Yeah, phase 2 or phase 3, whatever it is.
Yep.
I'm going to elevate the doom meter. We're still at 6, guys. You can go to doomerfriday.com/vote. Try to get
Someone put up a comment on the screen a minute ago, Clint. It said, if they acknowledged that technology was being traded for abductions, people would start paying attention pretty quick. There you go. Yeah.
Yep. Larry Jones. Yep.
That might get people's attention if that was acknowledged publicly and officially. That like, hey, yeah, you guys are being taken. There is a trade involved, and we can't really protect you. Good luck out there, everybody. That might get people's attention.
I don't think we'll ever get that. I don't think they would ever. No one's ever going to come clean on abductions unless it's the NHI. You know, that's just too dark. That's literally like there's a monster in your closet and it can come get you. And and guess what? It comes and gets your kids too. But I'm with you, Andy, too, on the Epstein thing. It's like that we literally found out the world is run by actual fucking demons, like real dark demon monster shit. And they do go after children. And you're right. We didn't burn the world down. And for a couple of weeks, it was like everyone was sort of looking around going, when do they set shit on fire? When is it going to really go?
Yeah.
And now, yeah, we're drowning in information, but it's almost like people are so, I don't know, just exhausted by it all the time that it's like you don't even know what to react to anymore. People are just trying to survive the video game and, you know, get to the next level.
People panicked and thought, shit, can I still watch Toy Story? Because if Tom Hanks is involved in Epstein, that movie takes on a whole new, like.
So does the
and
name
people
Woody.
were like, absolutely, yeah. I'd rather not know.
Do you think they walk among us?
Oh yeah.
Who?
The
The
pedophiles or do you mean the
pedophiles? Yeah.
The pedophiles or the aliens?
The hybrids. We know the pedophiles.
Oh no.
Hybrid pedophiles. Oh god. That just sounds like half the other people's podcasts.
That's Grush's tough pill to swallow. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's hybrid pedos.
God, that's
We're going to
awful.
get so demonetized.
That's not good. Yeah.
Hybrid pedophiles, part electric. So
Half
yeah,
alien, half human, all pervert.
50 Shades of Grey. So yeah, that for me, yeah, I think Bob Bigelow's comment on 60 Minutes, I think there's enough chat, and I think that's going to be a really interesting idea that Spielberg brings to a mainstream audience. Again, I know there's been stuff on this in previous series by him and others, but the idea that these beings are here in some way, shape, or form, I'm really intrigued to see how they bring that out in the movie. And again, it just introduces an idea in a big way, in a different medium to a general public to be like, it's not just aliens coming from a different planet. You know, it looks like we've got screen memories. It looks like we've got the kids being abducted from a young age. These beings, you know, speaking through them, through their lives. So yeah, I think, yes, we have some. Like, I always quite like the video. Is it Vancouver, where the two men in black walk into the hotel after an incident that happened the day before?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And
That's a weird one.
Spooky looking video, two kind of men in black. But yeah, that to me is legit. Yeah.
There's a member question here from Clolo. I hope I'm saying that right. Or Clowlow. What are your thoughts on human mutilation cases, and could this be part of the reason for the secrecy? Thanks for the question.
Is that
didn't
for me?
that happen in Colares?
It's for all of us.
Mm.
What do you think, Andy? Do you have any thoughts on human mutilations?
Well, I've always liked the idea when it came to not like the idea, but with cattle mutilations, it made sense that they were studying our food chain because cattle produce so much, you know, of what we eat. But then when you're mutilating humans, it seems to be a lot more sinister. That's when I would go a little bit more speculative, and when folks talk about hybrid programs between us and them, and do we have huge triangular craft that we have developed with their help, and you've got kind of black military uniformed guys kicking about with weird aliens.
Greer My Labs.
Yeah, all the MyLab stuff, basically. Maybe that's where that would come in. Otherwise, it just seems they're more interested medically in the kind of sexual reproduction side of things. So yeah, they probably happen, but that again, that seems far less common and sounds like a very human thing to do, doesn't it? Because I imagine if our military, if Pete Hegseth, God bless him, cam guy that he is, got hold of a triangle and was sent to a planet with these beings on it tomorrow, and he took along some of his guys for a party. I do love Colin Jost's impression of him in Saturday Night Live.
It's so good.
If he went along, you would imagine they would kidnap or abduct one of these beings and probably wouldn't do nice
100%.
things to it.
100%.
That's a very human way to look at it. So either these things are just as nefarious, or we're involved in that as well.
On your last time, you interviewed Whitley Strieber a couple weeks ago, and in that interview, he mentioned a case of a guy named Todd Sees, which I had not really heard about before. And it made me go and look up this Todd Sees case. And this is a guy who I believe people saw him get abducted or taken by something. And then they found his body weeks later. His clothes were all over the place, but his body was just mutilated beyond belief after he had been like visibly abducted. And I thought that was kind of fascinating. I mean, it could have been something else, but it seemed like a pretty decent example of a possible human mutilation case. You guys know that case? Have you heard of that case?
That's the first time I have heard of it.
Todd
That's
Sees,
pretty creepy.
Sees. Yeah.
Whoa.
Weird stuff.
There's a aspect of the hybrid program that I find very fascinating, and it's one of the ones that it's a rabbit hole that I always wonder about. It's David Jacobs has always done. He always has the most interesting things to add to this conversation because there's so much detail in terms of like what supposedly these abductees are being told or shown, or what these beings are up to. And there's one story that he tells in Walking Among Us, I think it is, and he's just talking about how weird it is to do hypnotic regressions with so many people. And over time, doing it so many times, hearing the same stories over and over again that keep, just repeating the same things. And he's talking about how he's like, you would be surprised how many people have a friend that they just always are around, this friend that they know. And they go everywhere, they go to places, they go to, ball games and stuff. They have lunch together. It's like a best friend type relationship. But when you ask them, how did you meet this person? They have no idea. They can't tell you. They're like, I don't know. How long have you known them? I don't know. They've just always been my friend. And it's something to do with this hybrid program where they pair up a hybrid with an abductee. And then the abductee is like the mentor that teaches them how to act like a human. They have to kind of like follow around so that you don't look like a complete moron because you grew up on a ship. When abductees are on board craft, they say, well, I was exposed to a lot of like rooms where there were people, and in one room there were all these little kids, and they were like in a classroom, and they're studying something, or they're playing a game, and you would hear, you read about these individual abduction cases where they talk about stuff like that, and then in Walking Among Us, it's all about how, well, what do we know about after someone is abducted and they've had reproductive tissue taken from their body, they've been subjected to some kind of, breeding program. What happens next? And when these hybrids are raised, they're reintegrated back into our society, and there's a process for that. And he goes through that, and kind of, they get an apartment, and they have like 5 or 6 people living in an apartment. And then the abductee has to come over and just answer questions and teach them how to use a fork and how to, I don't know, which end of a slice of pizza is the right way, just things like that. Have you ever read that book or any of Jacob's stuff?
No, it does sound familiar though. When I spoke to Whitley Strieber, he talked about the son that turned up in the woods.
Yeah. Yep.
And he talked about.
No,
yeah,
I don't know this.
The biggest mistake I ever made on the podcast was a couple of years ago. Whitley mentioned on an interview with me that he had an alien son from a previous sexual relationship with one of these beings turn up in the woods behind his home. But he went on about a few things, and he just kind of dropped that in there. And I made the cardinal sin of not following up on it. So people were like all over that. So the next time I had Whitley on, I was like, I have to ask about this. And he basically went into detail on it to say the son ended up moving into an apartment across from where he lived. I'm trying to remember this properly. And he lived with another 2 guys who were with him. And the son had, was it Klinefelter syndrome, he said. And it turned out the 2 guys and the son were living in an apartment that was owned by someone else who actually wasn't there. They were squatting. They got kicked out. The 2 guys tried to sell the furniture. It all got really weird. But he was basically saying that his hybrid son followed him around for a while and would come and speak to him.
What?
Really weird, similar situation. But like to you say, and I am not saying I
And he loves
believe
smoking,
or disbelieve
right?
that. Yeah, and the kid smoked constantly. Yeah, like a chimney.
Guys, I gotta run. I just want to say I love you guys. I gotta head to the airport. It's been a blast. I love you, Andy. Love you, folks. I'll see you later.
Later,
Bye,
bye.
Dan.
Thanks, mate.
Safe travels.
Don't say bye.
I'll kick you. I'm gonna kick you.
Go away.
Kick gas. There he goes.
There he goes. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't know if it's in John Mack's book or if it's in, I think it's in Mack's book. There's a picture of a photograph. Let's see if I can look it up. This is a weird one, but a person who claims that they have a photograph of a non-human that looks human, one of those cases where it's like they look human, but they're not. And it's this picture of this really tall Andre the Giant looking dude standing, kind of far away from the camera. And supposedly this is one of those photos of being allowed them, to be photographed. And if I can find this, it'll blow your mind. But anyway, yeah, I'm just always fascinated by that whole hybrid program. And like you said, there's a phase 1, maybe a phase 2. What phase are we in? What do you think about the Tim Galedet, Sean Kirkpatrick confrontation that happened this last couple of days? This week, right?
It was a little bit strange. I mean, if you look at the end of the day, Kirkpatrick got called out, as many folks have done. I don't think it's much of a surprise because the main Kirkpatrick call out was him saying he had no interest in the topic, hadn't been in any meetings, etc. And then Brandon Fugel dropped the picture of him in the Skinwalker Ranch catch up, very clearly there. Kirkpatrick's lied before. I, along with many others, I've tried to speak to him on the podcast. And then obviously Galedet calls him out at this thing. I didn't see the background as to why Tim turned up at the event. But do we want folks going around doing that? I don't know. Tim was obviously pretty pissed off. He was being called a liar. But it was a bit strange, and we didn't learn anything new from this other than Sean Kirkpatrick lied about his interest and the UFO topic, which we knew.
We should probably watch to give people context because there'll be quite a lot of people that haven't seen this, I imagine. But here we go.
Decades of government service together.
Sorry if it's a bit quiet.
Intelligence and whatnot, DOD. I'm going to ask you point blank and put you on the spot on something. After my 2024 UAP hearing testimony in front of Congress, you had tweeted a response about my statement regarding Arrow, where you said, I came and visited Arrow and I was bitter because I didn't get a job, and that you believe that was because you didn't hire me because I was prone to conspiracy theories, and that you checked with some of my bosses on that statement. It's well out there. You tweeted it. And ultimately, I didn't go visit Arrow when you were there. It was after you left. I was invited by Mike Waschel, the Navy Intel rep, who asked me to come there. And that's what I spoke about during my hearing. And, of course, I didn't look for a job. He invited me, and for me to actually go for a GS-14 job after having been an Undersecretary of Commerce, that was kind of preposterous, I would say. And at the same time, when you said you check with my bosses, I had my bosses formerly were 2 2-stars, 4 4-stars, and a Secretary of Commerce who I've all spoken with, and you never really check with them. So ultimately, your statement there was an outright lie. And I want to ask you what you have to say about that.
I'd say that was not an outright lie because Mike brought you in, you sat in my office, and we had this conversation about
you weren't there.
taking that.
You had left. It was
I
with
had
Tim
not
Phillips.
left. And the position you were looking for was an SES position.
I was not asking for a position. Remember, Mike brought me in. He asked me to come.
Well, then
Tim, let me just ask you, because time is going to be short. Do you want to shed any light on the issue itself?
Exactly.
Well, good point. No, ultimately, so it's really clear that you have been executing a disinformation campaign about this. This whole slide captures it. And I know you can't acknowledge it because whoever you're on the payroll with won't allow you to. And that's my statement.
Okay, well, that's a great statement that has absolutely no bearing from reality. So
Yes, sir.
Cringy.
That
Can
feels
somebody-
like a huge moment to me.
Can somebody tell me what the facts and the proven lies are around this? I'll be honest, this isn't, in my opinion, much to do with flying saucers. It's more about the character of a man, the characters of 2 men who are in the field. So it is kind of slightly related, but not exactly nuts and bolts stuff. But what are the was it in Kirkpatrick's office? I don't know. I know you've uncovered some extra stuff, Pavel. in the last week?
The thing is that I've been talking to Tim Phillips to try and get him on the show, who's he was Kirkpatrick's successor. And something that I have information about is that Tim, whenever he went to do a number of interviews, he previously talked about what he was going to discuss in the interviews privately. And then when he went on camera, he said different things than what he agreed to discuss, which took a lot of people off guard. And this happened more than once. So what I wanted to do was to try and engage with him to see if I could get him also to say something different to me privately and something different to me about the same topic on camera. And I was waiting to get him on the record. He had already said yes. Then this happened. I asked him for a quote. This happened on the day the video came out. On that same day in the afternoon, I asked him for a quote. And he gave me a number of quotes. I asked him if I could quote him, but I didn't quote him on that day. I was lucky to not have done that because Dan Sederstrom, Andy's former co-host that now has his own YouTube channel, he also had an exchange with Tim Phillips. But this was during the night on the same day. So he posted the tweet of essentially Tim Phillips saying that Galedet was telling the truth, right? And it seemed like Kirkpatrick was busted lying again. But then I caught Tim doing the same thing. Like he was saying something to Dan and then saying something very different to me in DMs. And he did allow me to quote him. So I did. And this was just an attempt to let people know that Tim does this, Phillips, that is. So for me, as far as I understand, there was an in-person meeting, but what I wanted to do was this with Tim, and I tried to do it on camera, but I got it through DMs. Yeah.
So
it
the
is very
meeting
unclear.
didn't have Kirkpatrick in it, as far because Tim Phillips has said, and I was the one that took the meeting.
He said kind of thing, bro. Like it's hard to tell what really happened right now.
Why
still.
is this so difficult?
That's the issue. That's a really important point here is people like Kirkpatrick, Phillips, and others get called out as liars by the UFO community. But then when it suits, you use their words as truth. So when do you choose to believe them and when do you not? If they're liars, you have to assume, or you have to at least be wary that anything they say is false, misinformation, misdirection. So I think you have to be very careful. Like Pavel says, Dan heard one thing, Pavel heard another. You can't just go, well, this guy lies all the time, but he's not lying here. So, we've caught him.
How do you know?
It was
how do you
impossible.
know?
It was more has there been anything that's come up that has created a contradiction between what Galedet has said in the past or anything like that? Has he remained relatively consistent and it's Phillips and Kirkpatrick that have literally said two different things at different times? Or
Galedet has shown...
I've seen the picture of Kirkpatrick at that meeting about Skinwalker. I know that.
Yeah. We know, like, both of them, I think, have been caught, like, saying different things at different times about the same topic, both of them. And Galedet did show a screenshot of a meeting that was on Zoom, I think. And he's like adamant that he never met in person with Kirkpatrick for that. He met him like much later after that. That's what Galedet is claiming. But Douglas Dean Johnson is also posting exchanges in email with Kirkpatrick where he says the opposite. So it's impossible to know who's telling the truth right now. There's no evidence one way or the other. It's one word against the other. That's it.
But if you step back from it a little bit and look at it from a little farther away, I think what it shows, what I see is a rift. I see what Dolan talks about, these factions that are sort of at war with one another over what to do about this information, and one group wants to disclose and one group is not interested in that. And I think what you're seeing is that play out in public here, regardless of the he said, she said kind of nature of this. I mean, you're seeing the former head of NOAA, a retired admiral, confront Sean Kirkpatrick in a room full of people on camera publicly. I mean, that is pretty dramatic. That's a dramatic moment.
Yeah.
And it really shows like this is there are people who are dedicated. Whatever's going on with Tim Galedet in terms of like his truthfulness or honesty in one conversation to another. And let's be fair, it's hard to remember every conversation you have and keep your same exact, phrasing every single time. So I understand that happens, but he has shown that he's dedicated to disclosure and to getting this information out there. And, I get a sense of, I believe that his motivations are pure. Whether or not he's been, right and wrong about every single thing, I don't know if there's any way to know that. But Kirkpatrick, we know, has tried to throw cold water on this whole community and sort of, spread doubt, provide an alternative narrative,
dismiss people, which is like his specialty.
Just kind of, piss on the whole parade and do it in a way that, for some reason, for a guy that did it, and then is like, I'm not even really into this. He's sure fucking interested in it. He's always talking about it. Keeps showing up. You would think this guy would just move on if it was such a nothing burger, but for one reason or another, he's always out there. And I think it's healthy that Tim confronted him.
Oh, and Clint,
publicly.
I have information that from a person who's still currently at Arrow, that nobody there likes Kirkpatrick. They they have the worst opinion of him, really. And they don't consider the work that he did. They don't consider of any value, really. He just like stalled the whole process that a lot of people within there were really excited to move forward. Like, there's people that work really hard in there, and a lot of them are really pissed off that Kirkpatrick just came in and took credit for the good things and left the bad things to the rest. That's what I understand Kirkpatrick did, and how people at Arrow right now feel about him.
And his phrasing is so, it's so ironclad. He's like, this is all bullshit. This is what we found. We found no evidence of anything. These people are just crazy. He calls ufology basically like a cult or a religion that kind of pops up every 10 years and then it's got to be squashed, and then 10 years go by and it comes back again. He's like, this is a thing that happens all the time. These people are crazy. They're all waiting for their big, he really does use that term religion to kind of describe it. Like, we're all waiting for that big contact moment, like the second coming. It's going to be, a religion for people who aren't religious, I guess. It's kind of how he said it. And I don't know.
Disdain is the big thing for me. You mentioned that how disinterested he tries to come across. Actually, I think it's authentic that he really hates or doesn't care about the topic on multiple levels, and he almost has that UFOs again. And he had that from the very first time we saw him in the hearing with Gillibrand, and it's like, and I think that can be infectious in a bad way for the general public who catch any clips of him. Because, well, here's this guy who worked in the UFO department, because that's the way they'll think about this.
Yeah.
Here's this guy who was investigating it and he doesn't care and thinks there's nothing to it. So for a lot of folks who read the headlines these days, they leave at that point because the headline says UFO guy investigated UFOs, nothing there.
Yeah.
So in a way, he's done his job really successfully, keeping this down. And yeah, it's an interesting guy.
By being the guy in the suit that, can speak eloquently and with authority about this topic in a way that throws water on it, he provides an alternative narrative, because the other narrative is one that's really got a lot of appeal. It's, David Grush, on the other hand, he talks about it. You can feel his sincerity coming through the camera. You can tell this guy is committed to the truth. He talks about the hardships that he's had to go through and why this has been such a struggle. And, he talks about the hard work that goes on behind the scenes to get the information out. And I know we've got a clip of David I want to go to in just a second, but there are certain people you can see this, their sincerity is apparent. I think Tim Galedet strikes me as one of those people who has a position and a stature and a resume, a CV that puts him in a place where there's no upside for him to be the UFO guy, like none. He could make a fortune being a consultant do all kinds of other things without doing this. So the fact that he's doing it, I think people who are willing to take that hit I have a lot of respect for that.
Dylan Borland is in the Psychoactivo chat right now. Shout out to Dylan.
Is it
hey, Dylan.
the RL Dylan Borland?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Hey. I use a screenshot of his X account in my episode later tonight.
Jeez, Xander, don't tell your wife.
His Twitter account. I've screenshotted a tweet that he made and put it in my episode that comes out at 9 p.m. tonight.
Nice.
So thanks for that. You wanted to watch this David Grush clip, right? We've kind of moved past the administration kind of thing, but the tough pill to swallow stuff's quite interesting.
Yeah, I think he has a really great point that he makes at the end that I thought was interesting. And just before we move on to the last 15 here.
Yeah, that last, I definitely want to talk about the briefing that may have taken place recently as well. So we should definitely save some time for that. But I'll share this right now. Give me a second. Sorry, I'm getting over a bit of a cold. Here we go. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. Sorry, I had a strange pop-up there. Okay, something weird's going on my end. Hold on.
So yeah, I guess kind of final question. Our audience is not just going to be people here. It's going to be millions of people outside of here when we release this episode. Just in plain English for those people, what do you want people to understand from your experience about UAP, about the presence, the UAP presence here on planet Earth? I mean, straight up, what do you want people to know, David Grush?
There's truly anomalous signatures in the skies. The U.S. government understands it represents a form of sentient, non-human intelligence. I know that sounds very Star Trek, a la, Gene Roddenberry and Rod's dad's sci-fi series, but it is true. And I want, the American public to be comforted that the universe is teeming with life, it seems, and readily, able to be explored. And the U.S. government does have a lot of information that I think will inspire Gen Alpha and Gen Z and the American populace at large. And it will be a new era. It'll be a little uncomfortable. There'll be some truths that be a hard pill to swallow, but I think it's ultimately a good thing to get this out there. And I think the people of the world and the American public will be very happy to understand their place in the universe, so to speak.
Like, full stop. What an amazing statement. The universe is teeming with life and readily able to be explored. That's huge.
Still just want to know what this tough pill to swallow is. I really want to know. I've asked people that are in positions to know what David Grush thinks is the tough pill to swallow, and I'm not getting anything. But I really want to know.
I have an opinion on that, just an opinion. I think that it has to do with the whole psi aspect of it that is not accepted and is very stigmatized still in many of those circles. I think that would be the tough pills to swallow, because on one side you got the extremely religious people that already think that this is something spiritual or religious, and I don't think that's going to be it. And you got the extremely scientific people who think that it is purely scientific, and I happen to think that there's a lot of stuff that is more ethereal and impossible to explain, like psi phenomena, that eventually we're going to know how to explain it scientifically, but not yet. And I think that that's going to be tough for everybody, like because it's not going to fit your own worldview whenever it comes out, if it does.
You think it's a religious thing? Like ultimately the psi thing is going to interfere with people's ideas?
I think people confuse religion with spirituality or consciousness, and it's not the same thing. And I think that there's a lot of people that think, they say spiritual, therefore it's religious. That's not the case, I don't think. And that has a lot to do with it, I think.
I could see the uncomfortable truth being like, you can't have contact with an advanced civilization like this and keep the world that you know. The world you know has to dissolve. You know, it goes away. It's like you can't have Starbucks in this world where you're dealing with intergalactic travel, and we can't have a lot of the things that we've taken for granted as part of just normal society, because once you're exposed at a societal level to another civilization that has an alternative way of doing things, that's going to break people's brains. They're just going to think, oh my God, they're going to question everything. Is this the right way? Should we be doing this? Do we need a nuclear weapons stockpile that's this massive? Do we need to spend $1.4 trillion a year on defense? You know, those are the questions that are going to be really uncomfortable. It's like, we have to rethink everything now.
I kind of just get the sense that perhaps the phrase, it's a pill that might be really hard to swallow, feels a bit more like we have to accept something that we previously thought was something else. It's like something we think we know is absolutely not the case. So like if it's a religious aspect, maybe we find out that God didn't create humans. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe Jesus didn't exist. I don't know. Something like that. And it feels like maybe, I don't know if Andy has an opinion on this, but finding out anything religiously related in the UK, I think that would have a profoundly different effect here than it would in the US.
Yeah, remember the Family Guy episode from one of the early series, and it's like Jesus or God comes down and tells us who was right, and he goes, it was the Buddhists. Like,
yeah,
if there's an element to this where an NHI can come and say, yeah, a lot of that stuff was us, sorry, you know, that's all these stories, that would be upsetting. Religion's not going to be upset by the fact we have aliens or NHI. The idea, though, that a lot of these stories about gods, angels, demons are the NHI will be a tough pill to swallow. We're hearing there are factions, like you say, Clint, earlier, within the US government, and no doubt other governments, private aerospace and stuff as well, where incredibly right and left wing evangelists, Christians, all different religions will have their extremist elements, and they will struggle with that aspect of it potentially. To Pavel's point, what is consciousness, the nature of consciousness, life after death, the idea that, imagine you find out, okay, so consciousness, our souls we hear are unique to us. If life continues, what happens to the unaliving rate? I'll do your algorithm a favor there and not use the word, but you know, if people find out that it's Super Mario and you get an extra life, you know, if you're having a bad time in this one, what happens overnight to everyone?
There's a lot of people that would definitely take that step, I think.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. Huge numbers. There could be the element of the abduction side of things. You know, these things have a capability to do what they want when they want, and we can't do anything about it. That's a tough pill to swallow. That goes back to the old Elizondo muddy bootprints analogy. You're waking up to those bootprints in your house each morning. Someone's coming in. Your windows are still locked, though. You think you're safe in your house? You're not. Are you going to get taken? Probably not. Might you? Yeah. So all of those could be aspects of this, which are, and then you get to the really sinister stuff where you hear about during the cover up, children being used and abducted by people to contact beings or be involved in hybridization programs, and that gets a really weird place to go with the conversation. That, to your point that was on the screen there before, is disturbing. If there is that element of kids, especially kids that are taken and go missing on the borders in these huge national parks, where are they going? That would be a really horrible thing to kind of find out this is all tied into as well, in a way. So yeah, there's a lot of ways that could go to be disturbing, sinister. And I think it all goes down to the fact that coming out and saying we're not alone from a government point of view just isn't that simple.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
What in the chat, I'm just curious for people at home watching, if you're in the chat, let us know, what do you think the uncomfortable truth is about all this? What's the jagged pill that makes this so hard to disclose? I'm curious what people out there think. What's that? There's a clip of Burleson talking about a briefing that he had that was super weird.
Yes, I've got three. I've got three I want to share. They're all
with
very
Annie
quick.
Frey. That was
Let's look at those.
Yeah, so the first one will be Burchett, who seems to be in a skiff every week at the moment. he's in more skiffs than there are Greer films. So let me share my screen a second. And yeah, this what did Laszlo say last week about this? He's not even getting told when these are taking place anymore, because they're just happening. Either they really don't like Laszlo anymore because he can poke the bear a little bit, or these are just so commonplace. Like he just can't find out in time, because he used to wait outside the skiffs and question them, and now he doesn't really get to do that anymore. He did get to do it this week though, and we'll get to that next. But this is first Burchett.
A lot of members of Congress make fun of me, but they need to come down in the skiff. And I was just in yesterday in one. There's some pretty miraculous stuff. It's not about little green men. It's not about flying saucers. It's what are we spending tens of millions of dollars on? And why are departments telling us they don't exist, yet people in those departments tell us they do exist? A lot of members of Congress.
So that's the first one. And then we had Laszlo. This is on Askapol. Oh, and by the way, before we do continue, I need to probably at some point we need to recognize that UAP James supplies all of these clips because he's so on it. So I followed him earlier and he's actually followed me back, which is cool. But we need to say thanks because he does a lot of work for this show and he doesn't even know.
And for mine too. Yeah.
So yeah, this is the second one. So Laszlo caught, is it Scalise?
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so, yeah.
This is the 5-second long clip. I'm going to play the full minute long here. So
the one up there is the longer one too. The
this
one up there is the longer one too.
5 seconds long, this one apparently.
That's it. Oh, he changed it. Oh,
it's behind
it's a preview.
Paywall.
It's behind a paywall, and
YouTube
doesn't pay.
But the one below that of Burleson is actually more telling. He goes into a little more detail about what.
Yeah, I've got that one lined up as well.
Yep.
So here we go.
Congressman Burleson, that you were in.
Sorry, hold on.
Hey, how are you, sir? Good. Hey, what's this we hear from Congressman Burleson that you were in a UFO UAP briefing that you had asked to be in?
Well, we had a classified briefing that some of us went to. Obviously, can't talk about what was discussed at the briefing.
Was it eye-opening for you?
Well, whenever you go to a briefing like that, there's some things you see that are eye-opening, and that's about as far as I'll go.
Was it unsettling?
Well, no, I mean, I'm just going to leave it at that.
The information you got, would you be okay with the American people getting that same information?
Obviously, you don't know certain things. There are some things you can kind of get some idea of what's going on. Some things you still don't know all the answers. So
yeah. Did it feel like
I'll just leave it at
foreign adversaries or extraterrestrial?
Well, you can't discuss what happens at a classified briefing.
I gotta try. Thank you, sir.
Dude, that was
Laszlo's
great
on
from
it.
Laszlo.
It was.
Holy shit.
He's really on it.
He was asking leading questions, though. You can't say was it eye-opening, and I like Matt.
That part is true.
Him, yeah, he gives him the headline beforehand. Was it eye-opening? Was it that? Let him tell you.
He could have not repeated it, even though it was leading. He could have
put it in his head.
Said, yeah, but he could have not said it.
Play the Burleson one here. This is,
so this is apparently Burleson talking about what effectively this kind of, I think this briefing is happening multiple times at this point, but Burleson
and
has also had
I got
briefing.
information on where it happened. I already told you guys, but we'll repeat it here.
I'll play the video first, shall I?
Yeah.
So here we go.
On an event that occurred where they basically tried to set up a perfect case scenario where that would cause UAP to come in and then to capture them or to try to try to document them or record them. and it was very successful. So this is when this only happened a few months ago, and this is when the whole conversation changed, because that event was one that no one could deny. There were so many people that witnessed these things, and these were all credible people working in our top intelligence sector, and they brought me in and briefed me on this almost within a few days or weeks after this event happened. So, which is, I feel that was nice that they did that. They knew that I was researching this topic. Since then, that is the briefing that everybody wants.
Yes.
So the other members of Congress have heard about this. Leader Scalise wanted the briefing. He got the briefing along with a couple of other members. I had only told Leader Scalise about this, and now everybody wants this briefing.
I know when it happened.
I want the briefing.
And where it happened. Because I asked 3 different people, and they all told me the same thing. According to the information that I have, this one happened in February when the airspace in El Paso was closed. You know, that was weird. They said that they were going to close it for 10 days, and it was just a few hours.
Yeah. That was really weird.
That's what I hear. That event that Burleson was briefed on happened there, and at that time when the airspace was closed.
That's interesting, because Eagles Disobey had a really weird. Somebody should jump in the Wayback Machine and go see what Eagles Disobey was doing on that day. They had a weird page.
I thought it might have been Skywatcher, because of the whole alleged landing that took place last year, or maybe it's connected in the way that they figured it out, redid it again in, where was it, El Paso
what I can say is that Skywatcher is no longer really active, but that same activity is happening with other groups now. And I found out recently that last month there was something that was happening in my country. So that's the reason I found out more quickly, because I got intel that it was happening in my country and pretty close from where I am, but I can't say more really.
I think it's interesting that he said members of our intelligence community gave me a briefing. It sounds to me like he's saying, again, he's highlighting there are people that want this information to come out. They're bringing him in. They're showing him. They're saying, look, we've been trying to lure these things in and get them to come down and land. We were very successful in that. I'm wondering to what degree, if you imagine the gatekeepers as like sort of a top-down, like MJ-12 type group that's managing this from top down, once the cat's out of the bag to a certain degree, like once you know there's an electronic dog whistle, a radio frequency or some type of technology that works to like bring these things in, it's only a matter of time before some other third party comes up with that, a private group, corporate group, a different intelligence group. The top-down management can't watch everyone all the time, and they can't control everyone. At some point, someone outside of your network is probably going to do something, especially if it is possible to summon these craft, communicate with them. You know, once we kind of understand what we're dealing with on a wider scale, what's to stop more people from just going rogue and doing it anyway? And God forbid, what happens if you get a Peter Thiel type of a guy? I'm not saying him, but someone like that, a billionaire tech bro type person who is like, I'm going to capture one of these things. I'm going to pay these guys. I'm going to say, come on in here. Get what is the number? I'm going to write that check. I'm going to fund it, and we're going to go get one of these things, and then we're going to have a private group that owns this technology. Do you think that's plausible? What do you think?
Yeah, it depends what these things are, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming they're a craft like what we would expect a craft to be. What else do you think they might be?
I'm not sure. They're all craft.
When I interviewed Diana Pasulka, she alluded to that there's an assumption all these things are craft. Like, we don't know what we're bringing down. Maybe it's not the craft that are being summoned by these by the dog whistles. Maybe it's something akin to one of their drones or something else that we don't comprehend. Not necessarily saying it's human tech we're summoning, but we don't know. So I'm not saying they're not summoning saucers. You know, it's to me it would. I don't know if Pavel has any ideas, but it doesn't seem to me they're summoning something manned by anything. Yeah,
it feels that way to me as well.
Burleson's language in that interview was like, okay, like when they did that, shit got interesting. When they finally, I don't know, it's almost like part of the intelligence community had cracked something, and they finally managed to bring something down. And like maybe that's why all of this interest is going on. Like, perhaps the disclosure needs to happen now, because now it's the cat's out of the bag in some respects. And
to me, then, Xander, that sounds like infighting, because people have kept it secret.
Yeah.
And now you've got other aspects within, the government are keeping it secret bullshit. The government's a massive organization, right?
Yeah.
So you've got all these different factions, and now other factions are going, right, if this is legitimate and we can do this, because now you've got names and faces. You've got James Fowler, you've got Jake Barber, you've got David Grush. You can go to these people and speak to them and go, have you got this? Does it work? Never mind the public stuff, of which some of it might be nonsense, misdirection, misinfo, whatever it may be. Does this work, and can it do what you're saying it does? Or actually tell me what it does. Okay, we want this. And then James Fowler leaves Skywatcher. And
eventually too many people know about this tech. It becomes just too widely available. Maybe not to us this year, but 2 years down the line, if someone can figure it out, if thousands and thousands of people eventually get the knowledge of how to do this, maybe they need to make it illegal, and that's why they have to disclose.
And that's why I don't think it's manned craft. I don't think you've got sentient NHI beings kicking about in the atmosphere, waiting on someone flicking a switch and going, oh, right, okay, there's someone down in Essex, UK looking for us. Let's head on over. Oh, wait, now Clint, he's done it. There's someone in Missouri's done it. Oh, there's someone in Mexico's done it. You don't have an abundance of entities up there waiting to come down and speak to us. So for me, it would have to be something abundant, lots of them, small, portable, and readily available.
You had
the Sphere Network.
Patrick Jackson, you just had him on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sphere Network idea. I really like this, because Beatrice and her team have Beatrice Viorel and Eamon Ansbro and his group have kind of postulated that there's some kind of automated surveillance network that's sort of longstanding, been in place for thousands of years, possibly. Maybe that's what they're interacting with. And if you knew that there was basically an automated system that on demand would just fart out an egg craft and send it down if you give it the right signal, and it'll just do that every time. Yeah, I could see a bunch of people trying to figure out how to do that, how to spoof that system. And then I could see people within the intelligence community going, like you said, that know, or at least know the right people to ask to get the real information on, is it possible? Can we do it? What tech do we need? What's the tech tree look like? And then,
Imagine it was really weird, though, where like the planet itself has an organic defense system similar to antibodies, and someone's worked out how to activate these things and bring them down. So they're not alien craft at all, but it's something more natural that we don't understand. That would be weird.
Isn't the largest single organism on Earth a fungus?
Yeah.
One continuous organism that's like the size of a continent. I forget which one it was, but there's like one,
I know what you mean, yeah.
Maybe one super mind.
Super Mario style.
Super Mario style. How are you on time, Andy? Are you okay?
Time means nothing anymore. What is time?
you're in the sweat lodge, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cooled.
Like
it's cooled down considerably now. So yeah.
Well, I think we're about to wrap it up for the day. We came pretty close to keeping it under 2 hours, but we went a little bit over. Anything else you want to tell the people? What do you have coming up? What are you working on?
Oh, I don't know. Genuinely, I don't plan that far ahead. So anyone who thinks it's because I like to be really fresh and on the pulse, I'll let them keep thinking that. It's just I like to go a bit more chaotic. I think this coming month there's loads happening. I've got a pretty big guest I'm hoping to have on. I've not told anyone who it is, but they are like massive. And they've not done interviews on outside of Rogan that I've seen. They have contacted me though. It's not a trust me bro thing. And if that comes round, that would be cool. I can give you a mild exclusive, I think. Nothing to do with me, but Lou Elizondo's book won't be out this year. That was scheduled to be released. I don't know if people have seen that or not anywhere, but it's not coming out this year.
Interesting.
Are you getting Tom DeLonge, Andy? Tell us the truth.
No. It's not a UFO person.
I want to guess, but I'm not going to guess on air.
But people will want to hear from them.
By the way,
and it's not Spielberg.
Only tangentially related to this conversation, but we did manage to hit for the first time Doom Factor 11 when you guys.
I don't know how
about.
We've been way worse than this.
Yeah,
it's the Scottishness. The Scottishness just brings the mood down. That's what
I think it's your gloomy outlook.
100%. Yeah,
took everybody over the edge.
Yeah, I am quite sad.
Me being positive,
When you get to 11, a special message from Jeff Goldblum pops up, and you got an Easter egg.
And it's hard to say 11 with a Scottish accent. There's a famous sketch where two guys in an elevator struggle to use the voice activation. Look up Burniston. That's my gift to everyone tonight. And 11, and it's very funny. Yeah,
Burniston.
Yeah, Burn ISTOUN, and just put elevator or 11. It'll come up. Very funny.
Okay. Noted.
Xander might know it. I don't know.
It rings a bell.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, actually, but when you sit down to look at your show for the week and the month and like how you plan it out, how far out are you looking when you're planning shows and trying to book guests? You've been doing this for a while. What's that process like for you?
It's chaotic. Right now, I have Gary Hesseltine planned in for next week, the UK-based police officer. He's going to go over cases from the database in the UK on UFOs. Had him on a couple of months ago. Really interesting guy.
I don't think he likes me. I did an episode on Rendlesham.
Was he not a fan?
To be fair, I think I was actually really quite accurate, but there's accurate and then there's, what's it, Hesselton, isn't it? He's like next level accurate. And I just didn't have access to the level of information that he had. I think he did a lot of his research way back in the day. I just couldn't get that depth. So I did put a disclaimer in the episode. I said some of these details I couldn't find, so I fit them into the story to make them work. But I don't know this thing for a fact, and I just don't think he appreciated the.
You just sound like Sean Kirkpatrick now, Xander.
Yeah, exactly. That's my problem.
I'm not a details guy. I don't remember.
I'm an idea man.
Yeah, but no, it's I kind of, it depends how busy I am. I've got a day job, I've got the kids, got life. Sometimes it's really well planned out. Oh, and I recorded last week with Shane Ryan and Grant Levac on Westall 66. That's coming out in the next couple of days. I had a few kind of recorded over a few days. And like news updates, I'm due one of those. So I'm trying to get some folks on, like yourselves, Pavel, I know you've been on, Dan Cleary's just been on. So yeah, it's nice to get some different voices and opinions, because I think for a long time the UFO space in 2021 was quite close, and there was a lot of kind of positivity, and then I think it went a little bit to shit. And I think there's some nice voices that I'd love to speak to, because I appreciate differing opinions and stuff on the podcast. And yeah, so it'd be good to get you guys on as well, Clint, Xander.
I would love to.
Pavel,
anytime.
welcome back anytime. So no, interesting times. I think we're in for an interesting summer.
And just so people know, your website, I brought it up a while ago, but it was down for maintenance in case people go there. Is it back up? Let's see.
Yeah, onlyfans.com/that UFO. No, it's just that UFOpodcast.com. It was down for maintenance. My web guy was doing it today. But if you go to like /store, for example, you can see some of the merch that's on there.
Here we go.
But money's tight for everyone just now, isn't it? So I'm not expecting folks to buy t-shirts. Other than you, Clint, you can go and get one.
I'm going to get one. I got to get one. I have a whole separate dresser that's just UFO stuff.
Nice.
It's like all my UFO shirts from other podcasts and stuff. Oh, here we go. Okay, awesome. So that UFOpodcast.com, and if it doesn't load, go /store to get
Yeah,
into
there's some new stuff going up, but it's just a way to support the podcast. You know, I'm getting some. I like hoodies. I'm getting some new hoodies made for the pod. That was that Sphere in Loathing was a print that was quite popular from a thumbnail I done.
Nice, dude. I like that one.
That's awesome.
And those are genuinely limited. I think there was like 25 of them printed, so I think there's been like 8 or 9 sold or something like that. So, but yeah, it's all good. And guys like you having us on, appreciate it, because you guys have all got your own popular shows and different formats, which are really good, and different ways of approaching this topic. And I like that. There's not enough of that originality going around anymore. So, appreciate what all you guys do.
Well, thanks, man.
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's an exciting time to be in this space. It's really fun, and I've met some really amazing, interesting people, including all of you. And I don't know. I feel like we're definitely in a new era. Whatever happens next, it's going to be interesting. Pavel, how about you? What do you have coming up? You got anything special on the docket?
I'm doing Polarity later tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific. We're gonna do it live, and I'm gonna stream it on my end, and he's gonna stream it on his end. But he's gonna interview me. He was like, "Can you help me make some sense of this?" I'm like, "No, no, I can't. I can try, but it doesn't make any sense." But
what time is Polarity's live stream?
It's 9 p.m. Pacific. I don't know where that is, where you are in the world, but speaking to everybody,
5 a.m. in the UK,
and you can, and it's gonna stream through Psychoactivo and Polarity.
Yes, it's gonna stream through both, so you guys can check that out. And it gets really loose with Josh from Polarity, because he likes to explore a lot of topics that are considered quote unquote politically incorrect, but I don't give a shit. I like talking about anything, so it's gonna get weird. I'm looking forward to that.
It's gonna get weird. All right, Xander, what about you? You got a really good episode coming out soon, right?
Yeah,
tonight.
In 45 minutes. You actually touched upon it tonight, Andy. I too have been seeing everybody talk about the Book of Enoch, and then I saw the Luna tweet that literally said, "Read the Book of Enoch." So I've read the Book of Enoch, and I've made an episode about it, because I don't think anybody has unpacked it properly in terms of ufology. Anyway, there's plenty of long form stuff about the Book of Enoch online, but not much that I can see that goes into why Anna Paulina Luna, in terms of ufology, might be talking about it. And obviously there's a few other people, but yeah, doing a huge deep dive into the whole book, basically. And I
what
share
have you
my
learned?
opinions.
You became kind of an expert on the Book of Enoch. What can you tell us?
Oh yeah, well, it's. I'm kind of in the same position as you, Andy. I'm not religious at all, and people are. It's kind of Valean to say, but the long story short of it, I think people are sort of ascribing the ufology to the story that makes it comfortable for them. And the Book of Enoch is, for all intents and purposes, pretty closely tied to Christianity. So if somebody's going to like a story about ancient aliens and you're in the US, it's more than likely going to be the Book of Enoch.
It's also not one book, is it? It's a collection of...
Yes, yeah. So it's sort of 5 main parts. I think it's 108 chapters. It's not a long book. It didn't take long to read, but it's 5 parts. It was written over several decades. Like, it wasn't just one writer. It's not actually written by Enoch. Spoiler alert, but it's not much of a spoiler. But yeah. It was a fun episode, but yeah, I highly encourage everyone to watch it, of course, because I've made it. And yeah, just trying to do new things. I've got a new camera and went out on location for this episode as well. So
yeah, some new stuff, location footage, a lot of exciting stuff coming. So
to
are
be
you
fair, I
planning
just wanted to play with the camera.
But you're going to be doing more stuff like that, right?
I would like to. It's a bit difficult in the UK because there's not a great deal. You've got like 5 different things, and they all kind of look the same. They all look like forests or roads. There's no like You can't. I'm not Anders. I'm not going to look into a military base from a mountaintop. Did you see Anders from Uncanny Expeditions just bought land outside the back gate of Area 51?
No.
Yeah, he bought it for $2,000. He bought a couple acres, I think, for $2,000 right outside the back gate. He can see it from his property.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
An Airbnb.
That's not bad, like $2,000. Because what my hope would be there is that they expand one day and have to buy it back off me.
yeah, maybe.
It's a good investment.
Yeah, there's loads of farmers and stuff around him. Yeah,
that's so weird. I wonder if they're watching him as much as he's watching them. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably got people watching that all the time. One more quick thing I want to mention before we wrap up. This is a project that Mr. Justin is working on. Mr. Justin, if you don't know, is the minds behind the DOOMERFriday.com website and burgeoning Doomer Friday fan club, and also one of our mod squad leaders. And he has this project he's putting together for a game that is based on the phenomenon, but also somehow includes characters from Night Shift and the Night Shift expanded universe, including Xander and Pavel and others. And it's a little top secret right now as to exactly how this all comes together, but we've been assured that it's going to be a pretty amazing experience when it's all said and done. So Justin is putting together a team of people to do some testing and help with the development of this. If you're interested, you can go to adjacentinteractive.com/recruit is the URL, and you can fill out the form here, or you can find Mr. Justin in the chat and you can reach out to him directly or on our Discord and get in contact with him. But he's just looking for an extra couple pairs of hands to pull off this video game. And I'm excited to see it, so I can't wait to see what it comes out to be. Also, Andy's book, The Atlas of Unidentified Flying Objects. If you don't have a copy, make sure that you pick one up. This is a really just a fun book to read, and it's a great gift. If you have a friend who's kind of into UFOs, or maybe just a little bit, and you want to get them even more into it, there's some casual stuff in here for the casual observer, but there's also some really interesting detail. And I'm trying to find there's Rendlesham. Devil's Den case is one of my favorites, Terry Lovelace. And you've got a chapter on Devil's Den, and it's got some really great drawings of the craft that he saw. This massive triangular craft, which was had hangars in it with saucers in them. I mean, spectacular stuff. But the book is Atlas of Unidentified Flying Objects by Andy McGrillen. You can pick it up wherever fine books are sold. And last but not least, if you want to support the Night Shift, if you like what we're doing here and you want to see us do more of it, you can support us any number of ways. The easiest way is to like, share, and subscribe. It doesn't cost a dime. It only takes a second. And it is really the best way to help us grow. Or if you want to be super cool, you can go to teamnightshift.com. You can check out our merch, or you can pick up some of our actual flagship blend, Night Shift the Coffee. This is certified mold and yeast free, mycotoxin free, and heavy metal free. And it is roasted to order within 48 hours of your order. It's the freshest coffee on the planet and some of the best. And you get to subscribe, or you can buy a single one, but in exchange for helping us out, you get a great bag of coffee. It's delicious. It's what I drink on the show, and it's awesome. So that's it for me, guys. I think we're all done here. Anything else you want to add before we wrap?
Thank you, Andy, for being a doomer now.
Yeah, you're in.
Anytime, guys.
You were a natural, by the way.
I'm a natural. I hope I didn't come across too moany and people understood my accent.
You're invited to the carne asada, dude.
Thank you.
The carne asada. Please come back again anytime you want, Andy. This has been a lot of fun. You're awesome, and yeah, you totally do fit in here. So,
how do I submit an invoice for payment?
Send that to Dan.
You can invoice it, but it might take a while. I'm still waiting.
Send it to Dan.
Send it to Dan. He'll take care of it.
No, that's fine. Cheers, guys. Anytime.
All right, guys. That's it for us. We're going to go ahead and wrap it there. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget, let us know what you think the uncomfortable truth is about disclosure. Spell it out. Do you think that we're food? Are they out to take over the planet? Is there a hybridization program underway, and what phase are we in? Let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you again next week. Until then, keep looking up.